a bunch of GoFundMe's, a bunch of obituaries, a bunch of, I can't believe this person is dead. Like since the pandemic press, while death has been deathing before the pandemic, it seems like it has become even more of the whole estate planning process has become even more laxing. And while social media has become, it seems like a pool of death or a pool of sadness, the talk around estate planning has gained to only be, oh, go ahead and get you a trust. But a lot of people don't really trust the process of what the whole probate or anything, or just talking about death. Because when people pass away, the family can get funny. We all know that. The whole notion of don't sell grandmama's house is something that goes no matter the skin or the cultural aspect of it. Don't, because you see things happening from cases like I've talked about when it came to celebs, or the recent case of, who was that, Shannon Downey, where I probably butchered her name, where she said, oh, this is the perfect people that can't come to my funeral. That thing is hilarious. But anyway, of how estate planning is not really being taken seriously, because people feel that you have to have a lot of money to not only have a will, but to have a trust for anything that can make you feel at ease whenever you transition. Not bad. My name is Nadia. I'm a financial planner as well as an educator. I help people understand their wallet while they build their wealth. But in this video, on the day that my dad passed away 7 years ago, I am talking about something that has become a financial trauma for me, which is his estate. He did everything he felt he was supposed to do, but anyway, the glue came of a mess whenever he progressed out this earthly realm. The reason why I wanted to do a video post to the social media post I had about a legacy box is because you've always seen on the stroll, you've seen in articles about these people that pass away, no matter if they're celeb or common folk, and the family is gone all over the place. And I talked about in that post around a legacy box. You might have heard it called a death box, where you have all of your documents in one place. And that was something that my dad did within a briefcase. And the thing around it is that I thought back, because I was going through the whole body keeping score around the fact that we were coming up on his anniversary of his death. And I'm like, I remember when it was like the briefcase was right where he told me. And I thought how many people feel to have a will, to have a trust, to have this and have that, have POD or whatever. But where do you keep it? The fact that it's good for you to put intentions on having kind of a estate plan, no matter the budget that you have, but where do you keep it is key. So I wanted to talk more about this in a certain place, because I already have a blog post talking about the unestablished wealth when it comes to estate planning. I already have a YouTube video around it, but I wanted to give some more in-depth information around that legacy box post that I made, and just getting a little bit more context. So the notion of what is a legacy box, like I just said, it's keeping all of your documents in one place. It could be within a fireproof box like this, or it could be on a digital platform, or it could be within a Google Drive that only your family has access to, or it could be coded. But I wanted to get some context onto how to not only curate that box, centralize where it is, but guidance to how your family is able to find solitude within the sombering of you transitioning. And while these documents are dreadful because you're thinking about yourself, is that you also are thinking about how your family understands the wealth that you leave behind. It might not be as much magnitude that you want when it comes to the monetary, that is something still, you're still carrying your legacy within your family. So that's what a legacy box is, no matter if you call it a legacy box, because I think I try to give a little bit of a positive connotation when it comes to certain things that are negative depletive, like emergency fund. That's how I say opportunity fund. Death box, I like to say legacy box. I try to give a different breath of air when it comes to building and understanding your wealth journey, no matter how much money it looks like for you, because wealth could look like different things for you and I. But the thing I want you to think about when it comes to establishing your legacy box is that while it's within a difficult time for your family, it's difficult for you to actually process. Think of it of a way of a love letter, or a compassionate way, a practical step of putting estate planning within your overall financial plan. Why do you need one? You need one because imagine your family going through all your bank accounts. I've seen this one poor lady over on TT where she had to go. Her mom was in the process of doing in her estate planning. Her stuff was all over the place. So that's why you need a legacy box, is because your things could be, yes, you have life insurance policies, but do you have a beneficiary? Yes, you have these different things all over the place. But a legacy box allows you to have a centralized place for that. One, because you know your family is going to need these documents, or they're going to need to start paying people or doing certain things. The legacy box allows them to find everything that they need quickly, and it relieves their stress, allows them to still progress your death. And the thing that I've noticed is that when it comes to people trying to locate different documents, it's good that you have established these things within your estate planning process, but having a centralized place gives common ground for them to know, okay, this is what my family member wanted. This is how they wanted things to go. While you might not feel that you need a legacy box of all these documents, the fact that you took time to actually do an estate plan, no matter how it looks, no matter if it's with a lawyer, no matter if it's with a platform like Trust or Will, no matter if it are Mama Bear documents or anything like that, that you set the intention for what you want your family members to experience whenever they are going through your transition. Oh, what are some of the things that you should include within your legacy box? Let's get to it. So when it comes to your legacy box, here's the creative that I made for it, and it's on my blog post that I mentioned, and I'm going to have linked in the description bar. Is when it comes to your legacy box, let's break down what are some of the things that you should have to get started and what you could add to it. The first thing is logins. Give a list of logins. You can have a document, you can have a spreadsheet or whatever. When it comes to your bank accounts, your phone, the password to your phone. If you have an iPhone, you have a legacy contact. I believe there's one for social media as well, that you could set a person to be able to access your accounts. For your laptop or laptops or any other devices. So having all of your logins in one centralized place within your legacy box is key. The next thing is your bank accounts and credit cards, all the information to all of your financial accounts in one place. So whenever you are creating a legacy box, you can have a page for this one thing or another page for this, or you can just make it one big ass document. You like how one is a cuss word. Anyway, the next thing I talked about recently on TT was around a POD. A payable on death is whenever you have a bank account and you want, it's like setting a beneficiary for it. Whenever you pass, this person has access to the money. This person has access to know what's going on within your account. You can set this up if you have an account that is like online only, meaning there's no physical branch. I believe that you should be able to do this seamlessly, meaning you call them up. But if you have a branch associated with that bank account, go in and create documents around a POD. Please do this, okay? Setting a beneficiary will give you the benefit of knowing things. People are getting the money the way they're supposed to. The next thing is a TOD, which is transfer on death, and this is for your investment accounts. So when it comes to like your brokerage account or anything like that, setting the same aspect when it comes to your POD goes to your TOD, but it's just for your investment accounts. And let me go ahead and call this out. If you have a retirement plan, you are able to set beneficiaries. You're able to determine which beneficiary get a certain allocation or percent. And so go ahead and set those. Another thing while we're talking about beneficiaries is to update those beneficiaries every so freaking often. I love to say every year or anytime something in life happens, you have a baby, you move jobs, or anything like that, that you update your overall estate plan, especially your beneficiaries. When it comes to your beneficiaries, these are the people that's going to get access to this thing. That's how I want you to think about it. This is the person that you feel that I want this person, I love them, I care about them to have access to this. This is like an access granted pass or whatever. Beneficiary designations, you're going to see this if you do establish a will or a trust or both. But when it comes to your life insurance policy, that you're establishing this person to get this policy or to get the benefit or the cash benefit or the old payout for this policy. So that's what I want you to think about when it comes to assigning beneficiary designations to that. And again, going back to the retirement plan. The next thing I want you to have within your legacy box is your trust, will, and estate plan documents. While you're probably going to talk to a estate planning attorney, professional, or whatever, or using Trust and Will, Mama Bear, or any other thing or any other platform that I mentioned in my blog post, you're going to have all of these and they're going to give you the documentation. But if you don't go that route and you just list all of your things on this legacy box, in a document or spreadsheet. Let me go ahead and take a step back. Whenever you get into the estate planning process, get a spreadsheet of all your assets, your liabilities, everything in one document. And this for years. But when you go ahead and have that, you're able to start the estate planning process. Whenever you go to your estate planning attorney or you go to trust and will, you already have all of those documents and you're not getting scatterbrained. Okay, back to the thing. So within this, you have all of these documents together that you're able to go ahead and take it to an estate planning. You have everything together. So while I'm telling you to do this for your family, it's also allowing you to have a process already in place. So whenever you meet with your estate planning attorney, whenever you use this platform, you already have an itemized list, like a budget for your estate. So going over to life insurance policies, I'm going to tell you to, if you leave your employer and your employer gave you this nice life insurance policy and you list your beneficiaries, when you leave, it stays. The life insurance policy at your employer is kind of like a revolving door unless you transition this earth while you're at that job. So whenever you leave a job, you find some other life insurance policy, unless they give you the caveat to roll over into their carrier that they're using, their preferred vendor, then do that as well. But even if that is the case, having multiple life insurance policies is key, and then listing beneficiaries. So if you do get a term plan that listen that beneficiary, so even by that term that you make sure the beneficiary is still in place if you still want to keep that person in that capacity. And having multiple copies of your life insurance policy is key, but also a contact information for your the carrier or life insurance custodian is key. So when I say custodian, that is the platform that you're going to utilize to carry things out. So making sure that you have the policies in place, beneficiaries, multiple copies, who's the point of contact at that company or the custodian, and have that within your legacy box. Let me think if there's anything else within life insurance policies. Oh, also being mindful of any riders that could come along with your policy. If you have long-term care, anything like that, make sure if it's any kind of death benefit attached to any policies that you may have, go ahead and list it there for your family to know. The next thing is the deed and title to your home and car, proof of ownership of significant assets. Who's gonna get grandma's house? Go ahead and have everything listed within the documents. The next one is contact information. If you do go to use a estate attorney, your family will need to get in touch with them, as well as to go ahead and get the things rolling attorney may have. And if you transfer what one estate attorney did to another, go ahead and have contact information for both. The reason why is because if something happens and one so happened to pass away or one gone out of business, that you have contact information for multiple people that have serviced your estate. The next thing is the funeral and burial instructions. Go ahead and outline who you want to say the prayer, where you want to get buried. If you have a burial policy, list all of those things for your family. I have to find humor in all things, child. If you seen my story about my dad passed away and I was cracking up at the funeral, you know who you're dealing with right now. So go ahead and have those instructions there, because I hate seeing when people have instructions and their family still try to do things anyway. I said this and that here. Anyway, so have that as well within your legacy box. The next thing is any medical information or health POA, which is a power of attorney. On my blog post, I talked thoroughly about what power of attorneys look like for you, especially whenever your health, let me call this out, a health power of attorney extinguishes whenever you do transition. So go ahead and have documentation saying this person was my health POA and now it's transferred over to whatever. Any personal information such as copies of your birth certificate, social security number, anything like that. You remember I talked about at the top of this video that if you have Apple products, go ahead and set a legacy contact. I'm sure that Google has something of the sort too. Usually when Apple and Google does one thing, Google does the same thing, and vice versa. It all is the same daggone company, just different phones. The next thing is eulogy and obituary preferences. I talked about Miss 90210 when she passed away, and she said, "This is the people I want at my funeral. This is people I don't. This is what I want." This is the same thing in the same context of what I want you to keep in mind when it comes to your eulogy prefaces. Because yes, you can get somebody to write it, but if you're not giving instructions, it's like giving cliff notes for your obituary or how you want the order of your service to go. A celebration of life. I think it was this video I saw where this guy had Young Jeezy playing at his funeral. Chef's kiss. If you know me, you know I'm a very big Jeezy fan, and you know me, I like to still listen to their music. Okay. So any specific requests that you have for your celebration of life, for who, you know, how you want things to be carried out within your legacy box. The next one is a handwritten note, email, or document. I've been seeing parents saying that they have email addresses set up for their kids, and they'll be emailing different things to their kids. Think of that same compassionate display of love over into this element that you would have for your legacy box. So you could write a letter to your mom, or to your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your family, your friends, your whole circuit crew. It's like a big group chat within a letter. You let them know how much you care. You let them know, hey, I left this for you over here. Hey, do this or have this certain flower, whatever. It's like you giving a last passing of the note to your family with having this within your legacy box, and make sure you outline who's this letter for and making it that way. So that's the things that you should have within your legacy box. Another thing I want to call out is whenever you make updates to any of these documentations or anything that I've listed so far, that you outline that within, you update your legacy box. So when you update the real copy, or you get another trust, you get another will, another edition, make sure that it's within your legacy box so your family is operating on updated information. Next, where to keep it. Keep your legacy box where you want to keep it at. And then also outline that within your estate planning is where the legacy box will be. And then tell your family and friends. Like I told you at the top of this video, my daddy told me he had most of his stuff. I'm sorry, you tell my daddy's girl, right? He had everything within that briefcase, but also he gave me and my older sister a copy of his will at that time. So the same way that he gave us a copy of that will, he also gave us a copy of his legacy box in the capacity that it was at that time. So that's where you would keep it. You give your family either access to it now, or you tell them where things are whenever you feel of it. So don't just think whenever you're going through, if you so happen to be going through an illness, that you tell your family then, but also tell them before, because you just never know. We never know when our expiration date is, just keeping it funky. Make sure at least one trusted person knows where things is and how to access it. Like I called out, creating a digital version of it and giving a password if it's password sensitive to someone. I think that I am calling for and saying, when life changes, rather you have a new child, you get divorced or whatever. It was this article where the guy passed away, but his girlfriend got who was listed as beneficiary because she had a note that's saying that she gets this or whatever, and it was within his legacy plan, and she had a copy. But he had already, his kids didn't get anything. I think that's the case of it. So keeping things updated regularly. I love to say either something happens, or you get another year older, or you get a car, or you get a house or whatever. Make sure your legacy box is updated and the people who are beneficiaries know as well. Be mindful of the probate laws in your state, because while you will have a trust, will, or both, if you must, that things might go a little bit differently if you are not outlining within your overall estate how things work in the state that you reside in, or the state that you pass away in, or whatever. So just be mindful of that. That is why it's key to work with a professional like me, or an estate planning attorney. So I hope you found this video very helpful, understanding the purpose of not only creating an estate plan, but creating a legacy box, which is like a centralized place where you have it, and what to include in the listing of what to include in it. Here is the creative again about what to put in there. Being compassionate about not only how you want your life, the transition of your life to be carried out, but how you are doing the footwork for your family. And I've been seeing every time I talk about estate planning on my social media, especially on my Facebook, I get a lot of commentary about how morbid it is, but how important it is. And when I worked at Snoopy, it was one campaign that we worked on called Who I Live For. It was about the different side of life insurance, which it was around, these are the people that I'm living for, these are the people that I'm buying life insurance for, and this is what this person means to me. Child, it was so good, and it was featured a couple places. But that's the whole aspect of why I got into becoming a certified financial planner, is because of the process I went through with my dad's estate, and why I am so adamant about people knowing how to establish an estate beyond just having a list of copy paste doing all this, but actually putting the process into place to give your family peace of mind whenever you do transition away. You know how to make things rhyme. And I want us to move from just not being around GoFundMe. I'm not against GoFundMe. GoFundMe has helped a lot of people, but I want us to have not only GoFundMe as an access option, but having life insurance policies that are paid up and with reputable life insurance companies and carriers. That's all I'm going to say. And then also doing estate planning. While you're not having to pay thousands of dollars for estate planning, I'm going to go ahead and say this here. If you are going to work with an attorney to get your estate plan in place, be mindful that the cost goes upon their expertise, their experience, meaning what are you looking for, how many times it's going to be updated, how big is your estate, how more complex is your estate, is it going to go this way, that way, or whatever. And that is what's going to drive the cost up. While the cost may be expensive for some, depending on your estate, the cost of having things in order is priceless. And that's why I am so adamant of talking about the ways that you could do certain things within your budget, because the whole process gives your family and friends, and technically you, the peace of mind. And I check out my blog as well as my old YouTube video talking about it. But I really wanted to talk about this because I'm noticing that more death has been happening than normal, and more people are starting to get tapped into what estate planning looks like, and having the correct information will allow you to be able to process it. Any content that I may have, I talked about my blog post, I talked about my YouTube. If I have talked about it on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or whatever, and it's prominent, I'm putting it in the description box. So please like this post, share this video with someone that you know. Go ahead and bookmark it, save it to come back whenever you need to. Whenever you're going through your estate planning process, give me a follow, and just let me know in the comments below, what have you done already so far for your estate plan? What are some questions that you may have? How are you feeling about your estate plan? Do you have life insurance? I'm not a life insurance broker, but it's just something I want people to keep in mind, is to go ahead and get multiple life insurance policies if you must, and designate them like income streams for whenever you do whenever you do transition into the other side. So hopefully this helps, and don't forget to look for more on my channel. I'm excited about the long laundry list of topics that I have coming up. So that's it.